everyone, and welcome back. My name is Kaley Gray, and I am super excited that you are here today because we are going to be talking about dreams. I'm actually going to be starting a series of dreams, and so I'm so excited to have my friend Stephanie here with me. Which, Stephanie, this is our first time like getting to see each other in person because I think, have we known each other for like, has it been 3 years or more? Or is it two?
I think it's been about 3 years.
Yeah. We
or
met.
Close to.
It could be close to 4. I'm not for sure. But we met through a social media group, and we've just like, I feel like we talk at least like once a week, if not more, on social media. And so this is like so fun to actually like get to like interact almost live in person.
Yeah.
And so Stephanie is absolutely amazing. We have our Instagram handle there. I have mine, so be sure to subscribe to this channel and follow us on our social medias. She is a mommy blogger. She has 3 of the cutest kids, and she has her youngest is 4 months old. And so, Stephanie, I'm really excited to have you because you are somebody that I know that is like constantly dreaming, and you have kids, which I'm like, I sometimes feel overwhelmed dreaming in my single season. But were you always a dreamer?
Yes. Yeah. A big dreamer my whole life. One of my mottos is just like, dream big, go for it. I've always just wanted to live like with no regrets. So I've always been very big on trying to chase my dreams and everything.
That's awesome. I feel like I was kind of the opposite. Like I maybe like had dreams, but I didn't like really want to go for them because I was like afraid to like go for them, I guess. And so it probably wouldn't be until like the last maybe like 8 or so years that I feel like I've fully like dreamed and like started chasing dreams. And so I love that you've always been a dreamer. That's like so cool. Okay. So like, what was your first dream? Like, when did you first start dreaming?
It's going to sound funny, but my first that I can remember, I always wanted to be a movie star. Like, it was my big dream. And I remember wanting to do that since I was like 3 or 4. Just watching TV and being like, oh, that's so cool. I'm going to do that. I want to do that one day. And I always, like, growing up, I had like other dreams and stuff too along the way, but growing up, that was always my one big dream that I was like, I'm going to go for it. It's all or nothing. That's what I'm going to do with my life. So I mean, pretty much my whole life. I remember that's the first one I remember from when like I said, I was like 3 or something, 3 or 4.
That's awesome.
At an early age, I remember being a big dreamer.
So did you chase after that dream?
Yes. Growing up, I was a little frustrated because I grew up on the East Coast in Virginia, and I always knew I wanted to go to California. I wanted to do movies and TV, and my parents did not want to live out there. And I'm from a big family, and so I had to wait till I graduated and I was a legal adult and I could do it on my own. So growing up, I was sometimes a little frustrated that I couldn't just go for it, that my parents weren't the parents that were just like, yeah, let's move for you to chase this dream. Yeah. But it all worked out how I was supposed to. But yes, when I was right after, I think that was when I turned 19, I moved out there by myself, and then just went after it just for like 3 years, really hardcore, did everything I could, took acting classes, and just did everything I could to try to make it.
And like, how was that whole process? Like, because I feel like that industry is very hard. Like, did you ever get discouraged, or like what like kept you going for that 3 years to keep like wanting to chase your dream?
Yeah, I definitely had times where I got discouraged, or I would take little breaks. But then something fun and exciting would happen. It's one of the biggest things when I first moved out there. I had heard about a company that's no longer a company, but at the time it was one of the partners of it was Barbara Cameron, who's Candace Cameron's mom. And so when I first moved out there, I started taking acting classes through them with her. And then through that got connected to another lady that I took classes with. And I just I did a lot of extra work, like being a background extra. for people that don't know, basically when you watch like movies and everything, the people that you see walking around in the background that don't really talk on camera, that's a background person. But you get paid to do it. And so I did a lot of that type of work while I tried to find an agent and tried to like go on auditions and things. And a lot of times whenever I'd get discouraged, something exciting would pop up. And then it would like kind of re-energize me to keep going, whether it was a show I was working on or I don't know, like something would always happen. So there was, when you're an actor, it's kind of confusing, but most of the time you need an agent to go on auditions. And I didn't have an agent. So it was really hard because I was trying to do everything on my own and trying to get an agent and trying to get auditions. But there was, at one point, I did have an audition for a Disney Channel show, and that kind of like re-energized me, like, wow, I got this audition on my own. I didn't even have an agent. And so it kept pushing me. Nothing ended up coming out of that show. And then there was other times just being a background actor working on some of my favorite shows. I worked on Pretty Little Liars, Glee. And so it was fun I enjoyed doing background work just because I loved just the atmosphere of being on set and getting to work on some of the big shows at the time.
That's so awesome. I love that. So the 3 years you decided to stop, like, did you feel like you gave up on the dream? Were you chasing a new dream? Like what did you feel like you were supposed to be doing?
Basically at the time, after like about 3 years, I was just really burnt out of just not really getting anywhere. And just kind of started thinking, well, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. But my biggest, going after it, it's like a 1 in a million chance you're going to make it, like be a big star. So I always knew there was a really good chance that wouldn't happen. But for me, it was more so not necessarily becoming a big star, but I just wanted to try. I didn't want to like look back on my life and regret it later on and say, I didn't try. Maybe I could have made it. So after like the 3 years, I just was really burnt out. And so then I just kind of started shifting and thinking, what else could I do that I could be just as fulfilled and happy, that I loved as much. And it just kind of, one thing after another, like since then, my dreams have all just kind of shifted and like changed. But my first one after that, I started thinking, what else do I love that I'm passionate about? And at the time, I'm a huge baseball fan. I love baseball. And so I was like, maybe I could get a job working in baseball because that would be fun. I would be happy going to work every day. Yeah. So I kind of, some people in my family, some people think I'm crazy, but I wanted to stay in Southern California, but I applied for jobs with the Dodgers, the Angels, the Padres. And I just said, okay, if I'm going to get a job with any of these places, that's where I'm going to go. And I'm not going to second guess it. That's going to be my sign from God. This is where I want you to go. And so I got an interview with the Padres, which is in San Diego. I went down and interviewed. And at the time I was living about 2 hours away. So I like told them the situation. I said, if I get the job, I'll move here. Yeah. And they called me the next day and were like, you have the job. And so I was like, that's my sign. I'm not going to second guess it. I'm moving to San Diego in 2 months. So then I went down to San Diego, and then a lot of other things happened along the way. I ended up working in baseball for 1 season. And then there was still another time while I was in San Diego that I still pursued acting a little bit more down there as well. So I didn't completely just stop with the acting. Yeah. It's a crazy how I got from there to here.
I love it. And I think too, like, I love that you said, like, you just wanted to try. You didn't want to have the regret of like saying that you never did it. And so I think that's so amazing because I think so many people are limited by even trying or like taking that first step. And so I don't even think like, even though like you kind of like shifted and changed things, like got burnt out after 3 years, I don't consider that like a failure. I feel like that was like, hey, I tried this, I gave it my best shot, and this is just like not what I'm going to do. And so And I love how you said shifted, because I think there's so many times in life, like we will have a dream or we'll do something or we have this idea of something and we're working towards it. And like God kind of shifts it and you kind of like move into a different direction, which kind of like what you're doing now, right?
Yes.
The dream that you're chasing now. So I love that. Can you share anything about it, or is that like?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit. I mean, there's some stuff I can't really say, but basically, right now I'm pursuing screenwriting. So I'm trying to get into writing family-friendly rom-coms. So like Hallmark Channel type stuff. And I've always, even back when I was acting, one of my passions, I've always loved to write ever since I was like 13. And even when I was acting, I still had it in my mind, like someday I'm going to write my own scripts and I'll write the movies that I act in. And so I always knew it was something that I wanted to do, but I didn't really start pursuing it until 2020. Funny enough. But all the craziness that happened that year, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to stop saying one day and I'm just going to do it now. And so I've been working hard and writing and taking classes. And it's kind of funny now looking back, because I completely see, like, when I was younger, I was like, acting, that's the only thing I'm going to do. Like, that's all I want to do in life. And now with writing, it's kind of funny. I can see where God like maybe put the acting dream in me to get me to where I am now. Just because there's quite a bit of similarities between acting and writing, especially writing for screen, as far as you have to have a tough skin, you have to take a lot of notes, you have to like take rejection, you're going to get told no a bunch of times. And I feel like with acting and auditioning, that built it up to where, like, if people are critical of it or saying like, I don't like this, change this, like give me notes on a script, or telling me just flat out no, it doesn't break me. Like, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm going to keep going and I already have that experience from being an actor. And then also I feel like it helped me get more comfortable with screenwriting, because it's very, very different than like writing a novel or anything. Just the whole format, everything is completely different. And so from coming from an acting background, I already had a little bit of understanding as far as what a script needs to look like and stuff, because I was used to reading them for auditions. So it has been really helpful and kind of an easy transition. I still had to learn and do things along the way, but I feel like a lot of my acting background has been very helpful with now screenwriting.
That's so awesome. I love that. And I think too, like, you're taking classes, that wasn't maybe something you knew how to do or you had an idea, but like you needed to take classes. And I think that's so important to educate yourself and like teach yourself how to do that, and like asking for help and like learning. Because I think a lot of times when we dream, we're like, oh, I don't know how to do that, I'm just not going to do it. Or we don't want to put forth the effort and like put in the time. And I think that's so amazing. I think it's so important to be doing that. And so I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to watch one of your movies someday, because, I'm definitely a Hallmark GAC like movie buff. So I know we talk about them a lot, especially during Christmas. So
Yeah.
that's just so exciting. I love that you do that. And I love it's so inspiring. You do it as a mom. Like, you did not give up on your dreams or change just because you have a very busy season of life. Like, yes, maybe you don't have the same amount of time as somebody who's single or who doesn't have children in their life right now, but like you're still going for it. And I think that just is so admirable. And I think it's even like showing your children to dream. So I think that's just so amazing. Okay.
Well,
go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, well, that was one of my biggest motivations ever since I became a mom, is because that was one thing I heard a lot before I had kids was, oh, hurry up and do it now. Once you have kids, you can't do it. I've heard that about so many things, traveling or chasing your dreams, anything. And so that was a huge thing for me, that I was like, no, I can still do it. Just because I'm a mom doesn't mean I can't do it. And like you mentioned, my biggest motivation is I want to show my kids that, like, yeah, things may be busier now and I might have a harder time. I might have to do a stricter schedule of, okay, this is when I can fit the time in to do it. But it's very important to me that like I still am chasing my dreams and I'm still myself, and that I'm showing that to my kids as well.
I love that. That's so awesome. Oh, okay. So my last question for you is, why do you think dreaming is important?
I think it's really important because ugh, for like a lot of reasons, but it gives you a sense of purpose. It
Mm,
A lot of times dreams are what you're really passionate about, and what, like, how you want to leave your mark or help
mm.
others or whatever it is that you want to do. And I just feel like it gives you a purpose. It gives you a sense of working hard towards something. And um yeah, I don't know. I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest one. It's purpose.
No, I think that's so good, and I agree with it. I definitely feel the same way. There are times where it's hard and you're just like, "Why am I doing this?" But it's just kinda like you said, like, even when you're doing your acting, like, there's just, like, one thing that will happen, and it will just encourage you to keep going, and it, like,
Mhm.
gives you that purpose and that to do that, and, like you said, for your kids, like, your purpose is to even, like, show your kids that, you're still dreaming and doing things, so I love it. Aw. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. This has been so fun having you on here, and I hope that you guys enjoyed today's vlog, and I can't wait for you guys to come back next time as we continue this dream series. Bye. And recording.